Hey guys, it's Frank from Cruising with Wheels. Have you ever wondered where some people get the absolute nerve to comment or ask questions that are personal or inappropriate? Well, let me tell you where we've run into some of these crazy nosy cruisers in this episode of my Frank Pushes Back. Kevin and I always seemed to run into these crazy cruisers. Like we've got some bright neon bullseye on our forehead that says, "Come one, come all, come on down, Looney Toonies. We're here for the taking." I mean, I just don't know what the deal is. Why we encounter such nosy people that ask really personal questions, inappropriate questions, or just make snide comments, or they're just really kind of unaware of what is inappropriate to say to other people. I'm just not sure where some of this comes from. Now, believe it or not, all of the stories I'm going to tell you today all took place on the NCL Gem in 2015. Yep. A lot of these things you might not have heard. And the first one takes place, it was lunchtime at the Garden Cafe. Yep, Kevin and I were up to the buffet, and as usual, we find a table, roll me in. Kevin ran to get our food, and he brought the plates back, gets the silverware all set out, and then he was like, "Oh, wait a minute. What do you want to drink?" And I said, the usual, lemonade, fruit punch, whatever they got. And he's like, "Okay." So he goes back up and a lemonade dispenser. And I really like their lemonade. So he's standing there and he decides, he's going to get some lemonade for himself as well. So he's standing there and he's got 2 cups in his hands and he's, doing the dispenser. And this lady, of course, Miss Nosy Busybody, behind him, says to him, "Hurry up, hurry up. What are you doing? Why are you taking so long? Do you really need 2 glasses? Ugh, please, honestly. If you need more, you can always come back and get a second glass." So Kevin immediately whips around and looks at her and says, "I have a husband in a wheelchair, you stupid bitch. I'll be over in the handicap area waiting for your apology." And then he takes the 2 glasses of lemonade and goes walking off. And she's like that. Well, what do you expect? I mean, who harasses somebody at a buffet line telling them to hurry up? Where are you going, lady? We're on a ship in the middle of an ocean. What will you possibly be late for? The next story, we happen to be at St. Thomas, and I think we were having breakfast. Usual breakfast buffet before we were going to get off the ship. I think we had an excursion planned that day that didn't pan out, but we had our breakfast, and I think Kevin left the table and did his usual running around. Maybe forgot something in the cabin, whatever. There's always something he's running around doing. So I'm still sitting there at the table, and one of the crew members comes by, and I'm sure he's seen us out and about and knows us, and so he comes over, because he's been clearing tables and whatever, and he's like, "Oh, good morning," and he says, "So, where's Kevin?" He remembers us, Kevin, Frank. So I say, well, he's he's running around somewhere. God only knows where he is. So he looks at me and he goes, oh, he's probably chasing the girls. And I was like, doubtful. Dude. Clue? So that was funny. That was a funny one. But you know, in the world where, you know, people always assume, you know, everyone is straight, even if they're, you know, two guys together, you know, they must be straight and he must be out chasing girls, you know. I must be the wingman, I guess. That's apparently not with him at the moment, being the wingman. But that really was funny. Well, the next story was kind of crazy. Now, Kevin had to run to the men's room, okay? Because, you know, when you gotta go, you gotta go. So he goes running off to the men's room. He gets in there, and there's only 2 stalls. Yeah, 2, okay? Now, one of them is occupado. Okay, it was occupied. Thank God the second stall was empty, because I don't know what he would have done. So he gets in the stall, shuts the door, locks it, and just as, you know, the pants come down and his little butt cheeks are just about hit the toilet seat, some guy comes in, some old guy comes in and starts banging on Kevin's stall door. And he's banging, and he's like, I gotta get in. Boom, boom, boom. I gotta get in. I gotta take a crap. And Kevin's like, sorry, I just got in here. Dude, bang, bang, bang. Come on, I gotta get in there. I gotta take a crap. I gotta crap my pants. Boom, 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 boom. And now Kevin's like, keep banging, dude. I'll be sitting here all day. And so the guy kept banging. Thankfully, the guy in the other stall had finished, and Kevin could hear the toilet flush, you know, blip, 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 zip, zip, belt, belt, and the guy was out, and that idiot banger was able to go into the next stall. But I mean, who does that? What does this guy think he's the only one that needs to poop? And seriously, who can poop, okay, and do their business with the pressure of someone banging on the door going, hurry up, I gotta poop, I gotta crap my pants. Oh my God, swear to God, my butthole would be clenched so tight, it would probably change coal into diamonds. Okay, there's no way I could take that kind of pressure. And ladies, you see what we have to go through? We've only got 2 stalls. 2! That's it. What, men don't poop? Bet you if you go in the ladies' restrooms, they've probably got like 10 stalls. I'll betcha. The next story, Kevin just kind of went off on a couple. Now, he was in the elevator, okay? I'm not sure where he was going, but you know him. He's always going somewhere. And the doors open, and this couple get in, a Russian couple. And how do I know that? Because they were speaking Russian. Yeah. Okay. And I'm not telling the story that I'm being racist or discriminatory and making fun of Russian people. So keep your hate mail to yourself. But the fact is, they were Russian because they were speaking Russian. Let it go. Okay. So they get in. And, you know how people are. You know how people are when you're in the elevator? La, 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 la. And you're kind of like, you know, everyone's kind of looking around and, you know, no one's really being friendly, apparently. And so all of a sudden, I guess they look down and they're looking at Kevin's feet. Now, he's got his sandals on. Now, that year, he had, before we left on vacation, he had a manicure and a pedicure. And he had these really cute blue anchors painted on each of his big toe of each foot. He thought it was kind of cute. Take a look. So they notice his painted toes. And all of a sudden, it's, you know, titter, titter, and they're giggling and laughing and looking at each other. And and nudging each other and rolling their eyes and looking back down at his feet. And, it doesn't take Einstein to figure out what this is all about, making fun of a guy because he has anchors painted on his toes and, titter, titter, oh, what a fag, that kind of couple. So anyways, they're doing all that titter, titter, laughing, nudging, and eye rolling, and Kevin is just waiting. And then the elevator doors open, and Kevin walks out, turns around, and looks at them, and says, "Yeah, that's right, my toenails are painted, you homophobic prick." I'm not sure they understood what he said. I'm pretty sure they probably did. And they were like, "Ugh, like, how dare you speak to me in that tone? Like, who are you?" But, we all know what's going on. We're not stupid people. So keep your homophobia to yourself, you dumbasses. Now, my next story, you probably already know about most of it because we had that disastrous Teppanyaki dinner, on the Gem in 2015. You remember the one if you've seen my Tales from the High Seas video, where I was knocked about and, the screaming people at the next grill, and it was just wild, and I just had to have Kevin take me out of there. So he gets me out of there, and because the hostess kind of ran after us, wanting to know what's the matter, what's going on, why are you leaving? Dinner practically hasn't even started, really. I had to get out of there. I was freaking out, claustrophobic. The smells, the oils, the grease, it was way, way too much for me. So he was like, wait a minute. I'm like, no. And I'm rolling myself out of the Asian complex, through the arch, and over to the bench seat where the windows are, in the main thoroughfare. Now, he stayed to talk to the hostess, to kind of explain what happened. So I'm there trying to catch my breath. I was like, oh my God, calm down. Oh God. Anxiety, claustrophobia, whole 9 yards. So this little old lady, as you know from the video, comes over and she plops herself down on the window bench. I'm in my wheelchair, sitting next to it. And she's like, seems to be, nice. And, how people start up a conversation, and maybe I'm just jaded. But, I kind of always know where the conversation's really headed. Like, when I had my stores, we always had the panhandlers outside the store. They were always asking for money, okay? So every time, I used to get to the store, get out of my car, I always knew that when some stranger came up to me and said, "Oh, excuse me, man, do you have the time?" That really meant, can I have some money? Because 99.99% of the time, when they said, they asked me, "Do you have the time?" And I went, yeah, it's about 1:30. It was followed by, "Okay, thanks. Man, can you spare some money?" Always. So I kind of knew where this was going. And she sat down and she's like, "Hey, how you doing? So, who are you, you waiting to?" "Yeah, I'm always waiting for my husband. Yeah, he's in the he went to find a bathroom. He's in the bathroom, and I don't want to get lost, because if I get lost, he'll be looking for me, and then he'll be all upset." And she's going on, and I'm like this. I'm like, because I'm coming out of my anxiety attack here. So, but I'm trying to be nice, and oh, okay, that's good. He'll find you here, And so I thought, all right, she's seems kind of nice. And then she goes, "So, what's wrong with you?" And I was like, by that time I was totally disarmed, and I was like, thinking to myself, "Well, what did you just ask me?" I mean, I don't know if it's older people. People always say old people do nothing but talk about their illnesses and everyone else's illnesses around them, and that old people get together and they talk about who's sicker than the other one. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Keep your hate mail to yourself. But anyways, I couldn't believe she asked me that, and I didn't know what to say. And thankfully, Kevin just came out of the Asian complex, and after his talk with the hostess, and he was like, "Okay, come on, let's go. They're gonna send the food up to our cabin, so let's go back to the cabin, and we can relax, and we can have what food they're gonna send up." And so we're rolling, and I go, do you know what she just asked me? And he's like, well, what? He goes, she was, la 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 la, nicey nicey, segueing into, well, what's wrong with you? Wanting to know all my personal business. What was wrong with me? Why was I in a wheelchair? She wanted all the deep dish dirt. No one's business. I mean, who asked that? I mean, I'm not rolling up to other people that are using canes, walkers, or wheelchairs and scooters, going, hey, guess what happened to me? So, dude, what happened to you? How come you're in that scooter? Huh? Are you sick? Is there something wrong with you? Are you just lazy and don't want to walk around? Come on, I want to know. Everyone wants to know. I mean, no one does that. Honestly, I don't know what people are thinking sometime in their heads. Now, this next story, I wasn't there, but Kevin told me all about it. Now, again, it was back in 2015, and it was the first experience on the island of Tortola. Now, in 2015, they didn't have their dock built. As you all know, we had to, the guests all had to tender in on a tender boat. I couldn't go, obviously. I was in a wheelchair. There's no way I can get on a tender boat. That's not happening. So Kevin says, gotta go, tool around, get the traditional Christmas ornaments. I will be back on the ship. And I'm like, okay, have fun. Well, he came back with multiple stories, okay? But this is a story you haven't heard, because this took place on the tender boat coming back. Now, apparently, there was this lesbian couple, and one of the ladies, Kevin said he thought that she was feeling sick, because the tender boat can get kind of rough, and so her girlfriend partner kind of had her arm around her and was kind of gently kind of just kind of rubbing her back, and anybody does rub the back. It's okay. We'll be back to the ship soon. You'll be okay. Well, you'll be okay. Well, you can have a lie down, get something to drink, whatever. And so she was being very comforting to her girlfriend. Okay. Anybody see anything wrong with that so far? No, I didn't think so. Okay. Well, apparently the homophobes on the tender boat were having none of it, and there was this one straight couple that thought that they were absolutely disgusting. And so they were looking at them, and they were doing the old tisking with their tongues, huffing and moaning, and that kind of BS. And then, apparently, they thought that wasn't enough, and that they had to put on some kind of straight retaliation performance. So they thought that they would start pawing each other and rubbing each other, and then they started tonguing each other and making this big straight display for everyone to see, but especially the lesbian couple. And they knew what was going on. Kevin knew what was going on. They knew what was going on. It was obvious they were trying to make a point that they didn't like what they saw, didn't appreciate what they saw from the two lesbians, and were like, we're going to do the same thing. Well, that wasn't the same thing at all. She was just rubbing her back. These two were practically, they were tonguing each other, practically having sex. So the lesbian got up, and she went over and she told them off. And she was like, that's disgusting. Okay? Like, we all know what's going on here, and you're disgusting. So the girl from the straight couple says, oh, you mean disgusting like you? Oh, that was it. It was like, okay, confirmed, homophobes. And so she says, What? I'm just comforting her. She's sick and she doesn't feel good. You're the ones that are disgusting. And so the streaker goes, we're not disgusting at all. And so the lesbian goes, and neither are we. And turned around and walked back, slam, dropped the mic. I mean, come on. What is the problem? One person can't comfort another person without the homophobes getting their panties in a tizzy? I just don't understand people. And then they have to put on the big straight display, to make a point. I'm going to practically have sex here just to prove that I disapprove of you rubbing her back in comfort. What are you, nuts? Get some therapy, people. You need it. What happened after that, it was still Tortola Day. And Kevin and I had gone to the Stardust Theater to see the show. And so, we always get there early. Wheel me in. We get our parking space. And I think Kevin must have gone to find a folding chair because, he likes to get a chair. He's got to sit next to me. And so he was gone. And so I'm waiting. I'm looking around, la, 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 trying to amuse myself. And one of the theater ushers or, whoever they are, comes walking by, and he was trying to be nice, and he was like, oh, hi, how you doing? So, did you get a chance to go into Tortola today? And I was like, and so I kind of, had this expression on my face of which appeared to be the "Are you really kidding me?" kind of look on my face, and I went, no, as I motioned to my wheelchair. How would I get off the ship? Because we all know everyone had a tender in. And then he went he looked at me and he was like, oh, that sucks, and walked away. And I thought, well, what kind of response was that? Oh, that sucks. What, because I didn't get to go into Tortola, or because I'm in a wheelchair? Which was it? Or was it both? Honestly, not very compassionate. The final story takes place on the final day. Disembarkation day. You're up early because we gotta get ready, gotta get dressed. We want to have something to eat before we get off the ship. So we get up to the Garden Cafe to hit breakfast buffet. Well, it's mobbed. Typical. Absolutely mobbed. I mean, when I say standing room only, there was not a table to be had. So we were actually just kind of looking for a corner or a place where Kevin could park my wheelchair. So we found kind of halfway down, there was a corner kind of by a dividing wall. And I said, wheel me there. I'll stay in that corner, and you're going to have to just sit on the, he goes, I'll sit on the floor. Obviously you're going to be in your wheelchair. You have a place to sit and eat. I'll just sit on the floor and eat my food, because it's just crazy up here. It's crazy. So I said, fine. So he wheels me over, and I claim that little corner parking spot where we're going to have our breakfast. So he goes running up and, give me the tray. Thank you. Grab 2 plates on the tray. He gets in line, and he's like, it's dog eat dog. People are grabbing and jumping over other people, and it is wild, and women and children are practically crying, and they're being assaulted, and oh my God, please, Lord, let me live to get off this ship. I want to go home alive. It was crazy. Typical. So he's, getting the usual, and I think he's just grabbing anything he can find that, that we will like. Might not be the optimum choice, but to be able to get down to the line to get what you really want was kind of not an option because it was so crazy. And then, yeah, you know it. There's always that busybody behind him who's got to make a comment. And so he hears, "Oh, wow, 2 plates of food, huh? Huh. Wow, you're really trying to get your money's worth before this cruise ends." And he whips around and he's like, "My husband's paralyzed in a wheelchair." Making it sound like he's crying and upset. And she's like, her eyes bug out, her mouth drops, and he kind of pushes himself down the line and leaves her standing there, totally speechless. Probably for the first time on this cruise. She had nothing else to say. It was so funny when he told me when he got back, and he's like, "Here's your dish. Here you go. Hold the tray. Sits down." He goes, "You won't believe it." He goes, "Probably one of your final ship stories." I'm like, "Now what? Geez, you just went up to get some breakfast. What happened?" So he's telling me this, and I'm like, oh my God, why can't people mind their own business? Who cares how many plates we have? You don't know who he's bringing it. So what if he wants to eat 2 plates of food? Who cares? Or if it's for someone else. Why do people have to insert themselves? I just don't know. I can't figure. To this day, 2018, I cannot figure out why people say the things they say, have to comment on things, have to ask personal, inappropriate questions. I just don't know. I don't know. So if you run into any of these nosy busybodies while you're cruising, you make sure you've got an appropriate, prepared response on your shut the hell up list to put them in their place. And maybe they'll think next time about opening their mouth and inserting themselves in someone else's business and commenting or asking a question that's inappropriate and none of their beeswax. So, on behalf of Kevin and myself from Cruising with Wheels, I want to remind you, if you're just watching this video and you think it's funny, please make sure you're a regular subscriber. Hit that subscribe button. Click on that little bell next to it, and you'll get automatic notifications when our videos go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning. And remember, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And don't forget, as we always say, travel safe and cruise often.